If there was one tip I'd give to beginner traders, it would be to stop trading with emotions. Stop obsessing over the numbers and focus more on genuine improvement rather than letting a few wins boost your ego or a loss break your spirit. Use every outcome as a learning opportunity. Instead of measuring your success solely with the amount of money you made or lost, look at your process. Analyze why a trade worked or failed and make sure you don't make the same mistakes. In this video, I'm going to give you a couple of things you should and shouldn't do, and how to overcome things like FOMO and revenge trading. You need to be able to cut out any emotions when trading. The only thing that matters is your system, executing it flawlessly, and adapting it to the current market conditions. Losses are going to happen. No strategy has a 100% win rate. It doesn't matter how you feel, a loss shouldn't affect you mentally. It should help you improve for future trades, especially if you're in the process of developing your strategy. If you've already got a profitable back-tested strategy, a loss shouldn't carry any weight and definitely shouldn't put you off of trading. Like, why are you crying? Would you cry because you missed a ball in basketball? You wouldn't. Do you know what are the 5 reasons why most traders fail? It's greed, fear, ego, impatience, and poor emotional control. Let's cover how these emotions could affect you in the trading world. Greed. It's a known fact that human beings are greedy animals, especially when it comes to money. Greed is the overwhelming urge to grab every possible profit, even if it means ignoring your risk management. When you're driven by greed, you may hold positions too long, over-leverage your trades, or pile into trades without proper risk analysis, all in pursuit of that extra gain. Ultimately, this behavior can lead to taking unnecessary risks, where the potential loss far outweighs the possible profit. How can you overcome this? Before entering any trade, set a fixed profit target and stick to it. Use limit orders to lock in profits automatically once your target is reached. Constantly remind yourself that preserving capital is more important than extracting every extra pip. Follow a strict risk to reward ratio, and if you feel tempted to overextend, take a step back. At the end of your trading day, review any decisions where you pushed beyond your target. Recognize the pattern and adjust your strategy accordingly. Fear. Fear paralyzes you in the market. It can force you to exit losing trades too early or prevent you from entering valid setups because you're too scared of a loss. This excessive caution means you're often missing out on longer-term gains. Fear skews your perception of risk versus reward, leading to decisions based more on anxiety than on sound strategy. How do you overcome fear? This is a no-brainer, but always use a stop loss to control potential losses. In case of news, which you should be following anyway, or any other big moves that you cannot predict, and never open a trade where the risk is bigger than the reward. When fear strikes, go back to the basics, your trading plan. Remind yourself that a calculated decision on a back-tested strategy is far safer than an impulsive retreat. If a fear of loss is overwhelming, start with smaller positions. As you gain confidence in your routine and strategy, gradually scale up while keeping emotions in check. Big ego. An inflated ego makes you believe that you're always right, which can blind you to the market's true signals. This is especially visible if you, for example, scored a couple wins in a row. When ego takes over, you might ignore your proven strategies, dismiss valuable feedback, or refuse to admit mistakes. This overconfidence can result in holding onto bad positions and rejecting stop losses, which can quickly transform a minor setback into a major loss. To overcome ego, you should document each trade, including your thought process and emotional state. Regularly review your journal to stay humble and learn from your mistakes, not just successes, as they can be the most important of them too. Engage with a mentor or a community. Getting an outside perspective can keep your ego in check and reinforce discipline in following your strategy. Somebody more experienced than you. Avoid deviating from your preset rules. Even after a series of wins, remind yourself that each trade is a test of your strategy, not a proof of your personal genius. If you scored a couple of wins in a row, make sure to maintain the quality of your setups in order to stay profitable, but also be prepared for losses. Your setup might be perfect, but the market does what it wants. Impatience. Impatience pushes you to make snap decisions rather than waiting for the right setup. In trading, rushing in without proper analysis often leads to bad entries or exits. An impatient trader might overtrade or take setups that don't align with their strategy simply to stay active in the market, typically sacrificing quality for speed and ultimately undermining long-term profitability. How to overcome this? Only enter a trade once your predefined setup is fully met. If you're tempted to jump in too soon, take a pause and revalidate the conditions on your checklist. Make it as simple as, if X happens, I will open a trade, my stop loss will be Y, and my TP Z. Set schedule times to assess the market rather than watching every moment. This helps you avoid snap decisions driven by the urge to be constantly active. Pick a certain session you want to trade or an hour or two where you can consistently show up to analyze and open trades. Poor emotional control. At its core, poor emotional control is the inability to manage any of the above emotions effectively. Without emotional discipline, you swing between overreaction and underreaction, making impulsive, inconsistent decisions that stray from your trading plan. This lack of control can lead to erratic actions like revenge trading, FOMO, ultimately destabilizing your strategy and eroding your capital. First, I'll give you a tip on how to make it easier to control your emotions. Detach yourself emotionally from the money that you are trading. Treat trading as a hobby that gradually builds capital, rather than as your sole income source. Whether you're using a prop firm or your own funds, relying solely on trading for income can really mess with your head and your wallet. When every trade becomes a make or break moment, you lose the luxury of learning from mistakes. The constant pressure often triggers these emotional decisions, like fear, greed, or FOMO. You might end up overtrading or risking more than you should, just to make ends meet. In the long run, this reliance leads to stress, burnout, and a vicious cycle of poor decisions and losses that can wipe out your capital and crush your confidence. It also completely ruins the fun of trading, so treat it as a hobby and stop looking at the money. Don't risk more than you can afford. When starting out, I'd recommend using a prop firm. I left a link in the description to a prop firm that I've been personally using for years, called Instant Funding. Just like the name suggests, you can pick up an account and start trading straight away for as little as $44. Now, what's a way to overcome revenge trading? Overcoming revenge trading is just a simple change of perspective. Rather than seeing your strategy as a string of trades, distinguish each trade as a new event. No matter the outcome, the previous trade should have zero influence on the next one. You need to learn to be process driven and stop being success driven. Just focus on the next trade, not the previous one and not the one after that. I'll give you an example. Let's say you had a biased coin that's 60% heads and 40% tails. Let's say you flipped the coin and the last 3 flips was tails. Should your next move be tails, or should you stick to what's profitable and stick with heads? Even if the next flip was tails again, you know that in the end heads will be flipped the most times. And lastly, how can you beat FOMO? Known as the fear of missing out, it is literally what it says. You might see the market pumping in a direction and get a feeling like you could be making money right now, but you're not. So you decided to join the pump, and before you realize, your P&L is red. How do you get rid of it? Once again, it all comes down to strategy and being able to stick to it like your life depends on it. I don't care how much it's pumping or dumping. I don't care if you can visualize in your head where the market is going to go. If your strategy doesn't allow you to trade, don't take the trade. Make a simple rules-based strategy and backtest it. Aim for a minimum of 25 trades. Risk no more than $5 per trade. It's not about making money at this stage. It's more about perfecting your strategy and finding out if it's profitable. Make a note of each trade, the entry, stop loss, and exit. Perfect execution every time. If you break the rules and take a trade based on how you feel, you start from the beginning. But this will be it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you learned something new from this video and it helps you progress as a trader. If you stay till the end, comment "I am disciplined" and I'll leave you a heart on your comment. Good luck with your trades, and remember, 90% of traders lose 90% of capital in 90 days.